Enslaved, Odyssey to the West is an adaptation of a 100-chapter Chinese folktale written by Wu Cheng'en in the 16th century called Journey to the West, in which Buddha instructs Guanyin, a goddess of mercy, to find a suitable herald to retrieve canonical Buddhist scriptures that teach transcendence and persuasion for goodwill from India in order to return them to China by way of the Silk Road. The goddess bestows the task on the Buddhist monk Xuanzang. How the fuck do you say that? And his 4 disciples accompany him on his journey, one of which being the extremely wise, powerful, and arrogant sage Monkey, who she enslaves using a magical headband that allows her to directly assault his brain whenever he gets out of line. After a long, arduous journey through fantastic landscapes fraught with peril where demons and death lurk behind every corner, the fellowship arrives at their destination, receive with kind thanks the scriptures from the Buddha himself, then turn around and head home to deliver the altruistic spiritual doctrine and receive their reward of nirvana. In the game itself, you play a cantankerous roid monkey named Monkey, who flees a slave ship on the coattails of a sexy-ass redhead named Trip. After crash-landing their escape pod, Monkey awakes to find that he has been enslaved by said sexy-ass redhead and cannot disobey her orders without the magical headband assaulting his brain for having gotten out of line. She assures him that once he has delivered her safely into the loving arms of her father at their vegan hippie commune, she will set him free. I'm assuming we're all together on this and have so far noted the oh-so-subtle similarities between the two narratives? Well, if you haven't, don't worry about it, because as soon as your little ginger captor arrives back at home to find Daddy and everyone she ever loved slaughtered by slave traders, she wants nothing more than to hijack the most badass panzer that post-apocalyptic East Coast has to offer and ram it down the bigoted throats of the bastards who did it. You employ the help of the mesomorphic Pigsy, also a direct withdrawal from the original Chinese folktale, and do just that. Now, before picking that apart too much, I'd like to mention the fact that this is the first game that I actually wish I could have played on an HD TV, if I could afford one. Some of the environments are wanting for originality, but the overgrown ruins of post-apocalyptic New York look like something Tyler Durden would have cooked up in one of his more misanthropic wet dreams. While playing as Monkey, you're either in combat with mechanized enemies that look like something out of 9, or gracefully hurling yourself through neatly arranged parkour courses. The combat is probably the most enjoyable part of the gameplay, and despite not evolving much, it still requires some quick thinking and strategizing depending on the different enemies you face. The boss fights are sadly predictable, though, featuring the requisite charging bull mechanic on more than one occasion. Equally unfortunate is the fact that fixed route platforming and experiencing the giddy thrill of exploration go together like box cutters and airport security. You can't fall off a ledge or lose your grip no matter how much you may want to, so climbing the gutted husks of office buildings plays like clicking your way through a slideshow, and though the game tries to incorporate some puzzle platforming, it fails to come up with anything that doesn't feel slightly less challenging than pissing in the shower. You can take the time to search every nook and cranny of the level to collect glowy red baubles that allow you to upgrade your attacks, but I've yet to find anything more detrimental to suspension of disbelief than forcing yourself to investigate areas that have no relevance to the plot in order to hunt down arbitrary collectibles that the developers have thinly woven into the story as an afterthought. A word of advice, if you're going to make us do shit like that, at least make the collectibles something a bit more immersive than incandescent red orbs floating inexplicably in tight symmetrical patterns. As it was stated before, the game hijacks a few choice story elements and overhauls the rest. I can't claim an intimate knowledge of the folktale, but I know enough to say that any intertextuality was completely unnecessary, considering how far the two narratives diverge once the cast of characters has been established. The game is no richer for having kept the personalities and supplanted the ending. Yes, there is a climactic finale laden with literary meaning, graciously stitched onto the end, having as little to do with the rest of the game as can be imagined, but it's not the folktale's ending. The themes of industrialization versus nature and pacifying ignorance versus torturous awareness disappear before even the shallowest depths can be examined. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 on the Lameish scale because Enslaved is a gorgeous-looking action adventure that's heavy on the action and forgets about the adventure until it's too late and it's forced into an abrupt ending before you can... Alright!